The first 2 episodes of Alien have dropped on Disney Plus, and if I'm being honest, after the absolute shit show that was Alien Romulus, my hopes for this series actually being decent were practically zero. What surprised me though is how these episodes have managed to exceed my expectations for just how bad it could be, fucking up established lore and canon in ways I didn't think possible. Let's get into it. I'll admit, the opening scene was pretty decent. The visuals and aesthetics were spot on, the ships, computers, even the cryosleep chambers, and the way the crew woke up. Unfortunately though, it doesn't take long before it starts going downhill. The series being set just 2 years before the events of Alien makes zero sense. Alien is supposed to be the first time humanity comes into contact with extraterrestrial life. Yet in Alien Earth, you have this crew aboard the Maginot, surrounded by multiple species of aliens, plus a load of xenomorph eggs and facehuggers. It even seems like it's their job to bring alien life forms back to Earth. But the question is, where did they get these aliens, and how did they end up with xenomorph eggs? If they came from LV-426, then that completely breaks the original lore. In Alien, the Nostromo is rerouted there after picking up a strange signal. And like I said, the derelict ship is clearly meant to be humanity's first discovery of alien life in the universe. If the Maginot had eggs 2 years earlier, then that makes the entire Nostromo storyline pointless. And if the eggs didn't come from LV-426, then were? A hive? That'd mean the Maginot crew fought their way through an infestation to steal some eggs, which seems impossible given how poorly they handled things once Xenos got loose on the ship. The fact it all happens before the series even begins just feels lazy. On top of that, the tech in this show is way too advanced. I mean, the series is supposed to be set just 2 years before Alien, yet they're more advanced than what's shown in Alien Resurrection, which is literally set hundreds of years later. Take the cyborg for example, it's far too sophisticated and high-tech for the era. Now, just to show you how much they fucked up with the tech, the engineer's blue light technology used for xeno eggs in Alien somehow shows up in human hands 2 years before. The series would have made far more sense if it was set after Alien Resurrection. The franchise's central theme was humanity's desperate attempt to keep xenomorphs from ever reaching Earth, with each film building on that struggle. But this show throws all that out the window, having aliens and eggs already being transported to Earth before the events of Alien, making the premise of the original saga completely pointless. Another problem with this series is all the epic shit happens off screen. We're introduced to the crew of the Maginot, who actually seemed like an interesting cast, then we cut to the cast based on Earth, but what's stupid is after cutting back to the Maginot, everyone's dead and the Xenos are loose. It just left me with far more questions than answers. And I know what some of you are thinking, Carl, it's only been 2 episodes, we could still find out, which is true, but I doubt it. Even if the later episodes show it in flashbacks, why? Why not just tell the story from the start? Why do directors feel the need to drop us into a story halfway through? Imagine if Alien had done that, started at the end, and revealed the events through flashbacks. It would have sucked. This series should have opened with the beginning of the Maginot expedition. Show the crew, their journey to collect aliens, the outbreak on the ship, then halfway through the series, crash it on Earth. That'd then give the audience time to know both the Maginot crew and the Earth characters, telling us the story from the beginning instead of halfway through with scattered flashbacks. At least then we'd actually care about the cast. As for the hybrids, it's hands down one of the most ridiculous and out of place storylines in the show. It doesn't fit the tone or setting at all, the technology's far too advanced, and then you've got these adult actors acting like kids in what's supposed to be a serious show. And for what? Comedic relief? It makes no sense. Like, I get the idea they're going for. When the characters inevitably die, the audience is supposed to care more because they're essentially children in adult bodies, but honestly, it just comes off as stupid. I would have preferred a story with actual kids trapped in the building, something closer to Newt's story from Aliens, showing us how they evade, survive and outsmart the xenomorphs. That would have fit the tone, built tension naturally and made the audience give a fuck. The series isn't all bad though. The way the xenomorph moves and hides in plain sight is perfect. That scene where it blends into the artwork before headbutting a soldier, absolute beast. Easily the best moment so far. The xenomorph design's solid, and episode 2 delivered plenty of gore, which is always a win. What does annoy me though is the plot armour. The alien tears through people rapid. Unless it's one of the main cast, then it suddenly moves slowly, growling. It's ridiculous. Case in point, the cyborg in episode 2. The xenomorph's relentlessly been trying to kill the cyborg since episode 1, yet when it has the opportunity to, it just walks away. It makes zero sense, and it just shows how lazy the writing is. To me, the only way this series makes sense in the alien timeline is if everyone dies, as well as all technology and data being completely destroyed. The knowledge in tech's far beyond what should exist 2 years before the original Alien. It breaks continuity. Weyland Yutani, already knowing about xenomorphs, makes the entire Nostromo plot pointless. So far, Alien Earth is a frustrating mix of highs and lows. The xenomorph looks incredible, the gore hits hard, and the visuals capture the franchise's aesthetic, but the storytelling choices keep it from truly landing. Between baffling timeline decisions, off-screen events and canon-breaking subplots, the series feels less like an expansion of the Alien universe and more like it's actively trying to undermine it. But what about you? What are your thoughts on Alien Earth? Let me know down in the comments, and if you could do me a solid by liking and subscribing, it'd be much appreciated. I hope you all have a great week and thanks for watching. Until next time peeps, stay frosty.